We are live at prisonplanet.tv on the internet video stream. Your phone calls coming up later in the hour. A ton of important news. We're scheduled to have a fellow named Jimmy Justice on who goes up to police, especially traffic enforcement cops that write you a ticket for anything. If you sit on a bench too long, they write you a ticket. They treat the public like total scum in New York. Same thing in D.C. I've witnessed it. There'll be a building on fire. They pull up, block the fire hydrant, get out. Nobody cares. They break all the laws. They do whatever they want. And not just what he's going after the cops for, but what all of you can do as little Jimmy Justices. I got friends that have, for 5-6 years, rig your cars like the Batmobile, with little camera pods and digital recorders. Used to, we'd have VHSs, under the seat. Drive around recording them. Go out. It's like hunting, but peacefully. It's fun to stake the cops out. Start following the police. Start videotaping them. I mean, let's keep them. They want to surveil us. We're going to surveil them. Let's keep them to a higher standard, not a lower one. Here is some audio. The video's up on Infowars.com of Jimmy Justice with this traffic enforcement cop lady. And there's videos where they'll start threatening to arrest him. He goes, go ahead. This is where he really gets heated because there's a building on fire outside, and she pulls up and blocks the fire hydrant while she's inside eating a sandwich. Here it is.
Are you on drugs?
What is your problem?
You're a traffic enforcement agent, and you parked your official vehicle blocking a fire pump, and there's a fire outside with firemen out there, and they have no access to the pump? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. While you're in the store, you don't hear the sirens? What's the matter with you? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're supposed to enforce the law, not break the law.
Have a good day.
What's the matter with you? Don't you think there's something wrong with blocking a fire hydrant?
Don't you think there's something wrong about filming somebody?
No. I think you're a police officer who's supposed to enforce the law, but you violated the law by parking your official police car,
have to do, okay?
blocking a fire pump. Somebody else will get a ticket for that. What's wrong with you?
Excuse me.
What's wrong with you? G-U-L-A.
Carl, what are you doing? Move away from the vehicle.
I'm filming you breaking the law.
There's scores of these videos. Hey, you're not above the law. You're not God because you get a badge and a gun. Same thing for mayors and everybody else. You're not above the law, and we're sick of it. You want to surveil us? We're declaring war right back on you, the bad cops. We'll be right back.
Of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're going to be talking to Jimmy Justice here in a moment. He's a model for all of us. He goes out predominantly with traffic enforcement police, where there'll be a building on fire, and they'll just pull up, park in front of a fire hydrant, walk in to get a hamburger. We all see police break traffic laws, not when they're in hot pursuit with their sirens on, but just do whatever they want. But if you did that, they'd arrest you for reckless driving. The police are, the department likes what he's doing, they say on the service. The police union doesn't like it. They defend anything, which is stupid. By having lower standards, then police act bad. Then it gives you all bad names. So you ought to be thanking Jimmy Justice for what he's doing. But not just with this, with police brutality, with police corruption, with police violating procedures and the Constitution, Bill of Rights. Video cameras are a weapon of the InfoWar and liberty that we can turn back against them. Now, here is an ABC News piece that was done about Jimmy Justice. We're going to play part of this and then comment on it and go to Jimmy Justice. Here it is.
Thanks for watching today's iCaught. I'm Bianca Rodrigo. Well, we all hate that dreaded feeling when you walk up to your car and you see a bright orange parking ticket under your windshield wiper. You may have actually just been in to get a cup of coffee for 5 minutes. So you think to yourself, cops are only doing their job, they're patrolling the streets. But what happens when you see a cop doing the same thing you actually got a ticket for? Well, one average Joe in Brooklyn decided to whip out his camera and see if he could catch any cops in the act.
Are you embarrassed that you broke the law?
I didn't break the law.
You parked in a bus stop. Look, the buses can't get through, can they? Because of you. Why couldn't you pull in over there? You're blocking traffic on a major avenue. You're not allowed to do that.
He has a mouth.
Are you on drugs?
What is your problem?
he has a camera.
Move away from the vehicle.
I'm filming you breaking the law. Why are you double parked?
And if you wear a badge, he may have you all over the web.
You broke the law. And I got it on videotape. I'm Jimmy Justice. And your days of running around the city like a cowboy are over.
He cruises the streets to catch New York City traffic cops behaving badly. And when he locks on a target, he posts it on the internet for the world to see. In this clip, Jimmy spots a traffic agent parked illegally at a fire hydrant during a fire.
You're a traffic enforcement agent, and you parked your official vehicle blocking a fire pump, and there's a fire outside with firemen out there, and they have no access to the pump. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're supposed to enforce the law, not break the law.
It's pretty gutsy. You walk right up to these police officers, and some say you don't always show them the greatest amount of respect.
I will only show respect to a police officer who does his job properly. It's a no standing anytime zone.
Here, it's a Board of Education worker.
You're parked on a sidewalk.
It gets ugly. Jimmy's already on his third camera.
Let me get out of my face, man.
It's the least that we can ask, that the same people that are out there to enforce the parking and the traffic laws obey the laws themselves.
This new video revolution, he says, levels the playing field, giving the average Joe, or Jimmy, a chance to fight back against the power players.
You parked in a no standing consent.
And it seems to work.
And
the NYPD has launched a full investigation into the officers caught on tape.
Don't spit on me. Don't spit on me.
I can do what I want.
Jimmy Justice won't reveal his real name, afraid of revenge by the city. But like most internet warriors, there was a single moment that sent him over the edge.
Last year, I witnessed a traffic enforcement agent give somebody a ticket for parking blocking a fire hydrant. And then the same traffic enforcement agent got back in his official vehicle. He made a U-turn. He blocked a different fire hydrant on the other side of the street and went into a restaurant to eat lunch.
The NYPD says that they've launched an investigation into the matter, and it's unknown yet if anyone has been disciplined.
Okay, we bring you now to the man, Jimmy Justice. Jimmy, if more Americans do what you're doing, something we've been doing for years, this is our exact type of tactic to show the hypocrisy. A lot of corruption and double standards are going to come to an end. I commend you, Jimmy Justice.
All right, thank you. First, I want to say that it's an honor to be invited on your show. Thank you very much for calling and contacting me. And I agree with you. The more video cameras out there, it's going to be much harder for the police to do something wrong. And we need to put video cameras out, not just to keep an eye on the public, but also to keep an eye on the watchers.
What made you do this? When did you start doing this?
Well, I work as an audio systems engineer and here in New York City, and I also play guitar in a rock band. And in a lot of places, there are no standing zones, but according to the law, you're allowed to stop temporarily to drop off a passenger or to drop off your cargo, and then you have to move along and park properly. And often I pull up in front of a club to unload my guitar and my gear, and then I'm going to run back into my car and leave. And I'm allowed to do that according to New York City traffic rules. But often they just come up and they write you a ticket anyway. And go and argue with them. They are a bunch of mindless, illiterate drones. They don't even know the laws that they're enforcing because they openly flout those same laws while they're running their personal errands.
Well, that's a good way to put it. I mean, New York police, on average, treat the citizens like they are maggot droppings. I mean, they are just out of control. And so that's how this started, is you're giving them some of their own medicine now.
Yeah, now, absolutely. Now, sometimes if I would be getting paid $100 to play guitar at a show, and I would get a ticket for $115, it would cost me money to go and do this. And these things this anger has been building up in me for a long time. And about 2 years ago, I witnessed a traffic enforcement agent write a civilian a summons for blocking a hydrant.
Let me stop you, Jimmy. They've started this in the last 10 years. They're civilians, too. We're not in the martial law dictatorship. Mayors call us civilians. They're all civilians, too. They're not a military occupying force, even if they say they are criminally. Go ahead.
Right. And just to make a differentiation to your listeners, in New York City, the police department, the actual guys with guns and arresting powers, are called the NYPD. And the Traffic Enforcement Agency is a civilian arm of the NYPD.
But the NYPD is civilian, too, sir. They're not a military. Go ahead.
Okay.
We all use that term. We need to stop using it. Go ahead.
Okay. My point was, though, that the Traffic Enforcement Agency has even less training than an actual NYPD police officer. They don't have arresting powers. They don't carry a gun. It's their sole job to help the flow of traffic go more smoothly and to write parking summonses. And boy, do they do their job with this viciousness toward the public. And New York City has a policy of predatory ticketing. And I believe that when traffic law was originally written, there was a degree of altruism. And these laws were written to increase public safety for motorists and for pedestrians. But it isn't that way anymore. Cities, especially New York City, are using these traffic laws as a means of raising revenue. And here in New York City, they write about 15 million parking tickets per year, and it brings in $500 million into the city coffers. And it's an outright disgrace. And what hurts a lot more than receiving a parking ticket, especially if you believe you didn't deserve one, is watching the same officer who gave you that ticket commit the same violation with his official vehicle.